I dream and the world trembles.
You are listening to the Emerald Dreamcast, a World of Warcraft podcast, with your hosts, Hazel and Wowmartiean.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the podcast. This April 18th, 2016. Thank you very much for being here on the Emerald Dreamcast. My co-host is ever so creepy, hanging out in the background. I'm just waiting for her to
creepy.
Pounce. Well, I don't know. I figure you were like in cat form at some point, ready to pounce. What? Whoa! You turned into a snake? That's not a druid form. What was that? Did you release some steam? Are you okay?
I sprung a leak.
Hey, don't joke about that with the water in my basement. That's not something I really want to know. So thank you guys for being here. So glad to be back. So glad to be hanging out with Hazel because, you know, everybody loves her. I have to say, everybody we talk about this podcast, it's just like, yeah, you're cool, but we love Hazel. So it's great. But like I said, that's why we're doing this. Because
They're just trying to keep your well-known ego in check.
No, I'm hitching my wagon to your star, my damn. My damn? My damn. That was a little bit overpronounced.
You're what?
My damn. Madam is supposed to be madam, but it went my
okay.
Annie friggin' who.
I almost thought you said my man, which is fine. I mean, I get
bro?
that sometimes.
Come on, dude.
Dude.
Let's do this again.
Let's do a podcast, dude.
What is this?
Gonna be totally dope.
Oh, okay.
I've been watching too much Breaking Bad.
Oh, jeez.
I'm trying to catch up. Don't spoil anything. Don't talk about the ending. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm like, trying to
bitch.
work through season 3.
Right.
Anyways.
Anywho, hopefully you guys are having a good week. It is Monday, of course. Like I said, it's so nice to have something to look forward to on Mondays because Monday usually suck. Hopefully we are making your Monday or whatever day you are listening to this on Stitcher and iTunes and all that stuffs. We might be on Google Play pretty soon, I've heard. I don't have complete information on that, but yeah, that might be the next step. So we're going to be all over the place, you know, ready to rattle your eardrums wherever you may be. So today, we got some good information. Actually, it's funny because we go back and forth about, you know, what we want to discuss on the show and everything else. And it seems like inevitably every Monday, something pops up for us to talk about. I wonder if it's the beginning of the week and Blizzard's like, okay, we had the weekend to mull this over, launch this or whatever. So this particular day, we've got a release date for Legion, actually. And we'll cover that. Actually, we'll hold off. I'm going to leave that as a little cliffhanger, because we haven't talked about what we've done this week. I got a little ahead of myself. I'm so excited about this. So let's find out exactly what you've been doing in and out of WoW this week, Hazel.
Okay, well, in WoW, on live, pretty normal stuff, trying to queue arena every day. I haven't missed a day in quite a while now, which I'm quite proud of.
Yay.
I feel like if I can just keep a really long streak of just, you know, everyday WoD, eventually I'll be the WoDiest that ever WoDed, and I'll just be the queen of WoD.
Oh, man, that just sounds horrible.
And then I've been playing quite a bit of Alpha, just testing out some different stuff. I did the Broken Shore. I am extremely satisfied that they finally fixed that goddamn phasing issue that was plaguing. Oh my god!
Yes, initially with the boat would completely disappear and all the NPCs would just go.
And you just like do that dance where you like try and sneak up on the NPC because you go far enough away, it reappears. So you're just like, all right, maybe if I just like swoop in really fast from behind, he won't notice me. And I can just grab his quest and run.
It was like it was kind of like Lucy and Charlie Brown with a football. You're just like, no, not this time.
Yeah. So there's that, and outside of WoW, I did some gardening yesterday, and by gardening I mean I shuffled around a bunch of stuff in pots because I live in an apartment and I'm not on the ground floor and I have no land to call to my name, but I have a buttload of plants on my balcony now, and I moved them all around. I got some new ones planted, and I'm just so excited about that. They're all happy. They didn't die. Every time I like move plants around, I just check on them like every hour and a half because some plants don't really like being moved. And sometimes it's just kind of like a waiting game to see if they're going to pull through or not. So I just keep like wandering over casually to my balcony window to like look out and see if anything is just like flopped over dead. And they're all okay still. So I am tentatively hopeful that they're going to just like embrace their new space and then just turn into a jungle that I will never be able to get off of my balcony.
Well, I'm glad that you have a buttload of plants to work with.
I'm so
That-
happy. They're so
because
cute.
don't-
They're so cute when they're little.
A very unique unit of measurement. Buttload. I don't know.
I was gonna say something else, but it was a little bit more profane, so I scaled it back just for you.
Well, you were already with GD this early in the show. I think that's
Yeah, that was scaled back too.
that was scaled. All right. Time to reevaluate the adult tag on the show, which I keep going back and forth with because it's like, I know it's gonna slip, but I think for the most part we're good. We try and be good. So just, one time this person's listening to this on their headphones or whatever else at work, and the headphone thing pops out and it's on speaker, and all of a sudden you release one of your one of your scaled back comments. That'll be fun.
Joe, what have you been doing in and out of WoW this week?
What I have been doing, inside of WoW, honestly, I've just kind of been going through the motions with my garrison. I'm up on gold again after doing all the things that I've wanted to do for the most part that I planned on doing when I got the million. I can still buy tokens, and I plan on doing that, but I still want to make sure there's nothing that I'm missing. So I'm trying to figure out what else I can spend my gold on. And here's the one thing I keep thinking about. There's a group that does gold CM carries for 250, and I'm really thinking about doing it, but I'm like, do I really want to spend that? Because I mean, the weapon BOAs will be great because of course they'll be account wide and everything else, but how much am I going to use them, especially with artifact weapons? And I mean, it's
you're
really
gonna get a Yeti.
I will get a Yeti, but I already have one from the.
Yeah, but this is a different Yeti.
It's a
You need
reskin.
all the Yetis.
This
is a limited time offer Yeti. If you let this chance pass you up,
That's true.
you may never. Oh man, I was trying to fit a Yeti pun in there, but I can't. I'm not that good with English.
Is it? Is it?
It was gonna be really funny though. I promise.
250K though. That's
Yeah, 100%. You're gonna make that back in like 2 weeks, man.
That's true, easily. Way before that, actually.
Yeah.
And I have not done Kazakh in like 3 weeks now. Ever since I hit the million, I've just given up on that whole.
Yeah, it's so easy to reach a point where you just have nothing. Like I got my 2 years worth of WoW tokens. I have every single trading card game pet. I have every pet in the game except for the stunted direhorn, which I don't want to talk about. But I have every pet in the game that I could purchase off the auction house. I have every mount in the game that I could purchase off the auction house except for 2, and that is only because they are not being posted to my server anymore. And I have for like 50,000 gold, there is a river beast that you can buy that is an even uglier color than the free river beasts. And I bought that because what the hell, it's another mount and I have all this gold and nothing to use it on. I have run out of stuff to spend gold on. Maybe I should buy a challenge mode carry.
Maybe you should.
I do recommend you do it because there is a finite amount of things that you can do to have fun with it.
Yeah.
And after a while, like the rough thing, and I think I talked about this before, but the rough thing about having a lot of gold and having completely run out of goals for what to spend it on is that it doesn't feel satisfying when you get gold anymore. When you do a daily quest, when you find an item that you're going to sell for a couple hundred gold, it feels not like anything because it doesn't matter.
Right.
So I want to be broken enough to a point where it matters again.
But the good thing is, honestly, though, if you carry all that gold over into Legion, you'll have a whole bunch of new things to buy. So I would recommend just keep stock, because that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. Once I get everything that I want, I'm just going to stockpile and just leave it there for Legion.
I'm curious as to what the total price tag will be for like all of the gold sync cosmetic stuff at once.
Right.
If I just want to fly around and go shopping, how much is that going to run me?
I don't know. Do you see the chat room, though? Ben Cirker has a very nice Yeti pun. You weren't able to come up with one, but I like his.
Oh, man.
If I don't do it, I'll Rigetti it. It sounds Italian. I want some Rigetti.
Don't make me hungry. It's not dinner time yet.
I know. Sorry. My bad. Anyway, so yeah, at this point, that's all I've really been doing is just kind of my chores and going through Madness of Deathwing, still trying to get that stupid Blazing Drake, which still isn't dropping for me. So,
yeah.
But
you have the other one though, right? The Deathwing meta.
Yes.
Or
I got the one that used to be 100% drop and then went down to 1%. The Harbinger.
Yeah.
I got.
No, I'm talking about the meta achievement Drake for Dragon Soul.
I should. I don't remember which one.
If you're running it every week, then you really should. It's not that hard.
No, I've
They've
got
made it
all those
completely sellable now.
achievements. So yeah, I don't.
You
remember
probably
which
have it.
Yeah, because I mean, the Blazing Drake's the only one I need left for the achievement for all the different Drakes, and then you get the Emerald Drake or whatever it is. So.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm
Which
assuming,
is a shockingly underwhelming Drake, considering how
really
hard it is to get.
I know, exactly. And it's kind of what I just want to knock it out, because I want to get the Blazing Drake and then get that one. And I'm working towards the next rung of, what was it, 250 mounts or whatever it is. So I'm working on that as well. So I might as well just get these mounts out the way. So, but that's about it. Outside of WoW, I've actually recently talked to a staffing agency, got all hooked up with them, and they're working on getting me a new job, which will be fantastic. Because currently I am driving 40 minutes a day there and back to work, so I'm 35 miles there and back, so 70 miles a day I'm on the road, plus working and everything else, and it's getting to the point where with gas and everything else, and it's just going to go higher during the summer, that it's just not going to be worth it anymore. So they have a job lined up for me about 20 minutes away, and it would pay better and everything else. So she's going to work into getting me an interview with them hopefully soon, and so that will improve my life greatly. So that is the thing I'm most excited about currently outside of WoW. So hopefully if you have any, if you're religious or light a candle or just want to say, good luck, Joe, please
You'll
do.
blow their socks off.
It's not that kind of job. Anyway, so we're going to go to Warlords, or not Warlords, Legion.
God, not Warlords again. Don't put it down again.
We
did
went
it
back
once,
in
we're done.
time and did it again.
Done.
Did it again. Warlords Part 2. No, Legion's launch. They have a release date. It is August 30th. 2016. We knew, at least I figured, it would be real close to their September deadline.
Yeah.
It's actually a little bit closer to now than I thought it would be. I thought it would really be right up against it, but so I mean, any thoughts, any theories, any?
Well, I'm not terribly surprised. In the
Right.
past, I thought it was going to be closer to June. I thought it was going to be right on the heels of the movie, but it's become clear as alphas progress that that's just unrealistic.
Right.
So I'm not very surprised that they're pinning a date. It is a little bit weird for them to just pin a date this early. I don't have data for when they've announced the dates, but I remember I feel like this is pretty normally they don't announce the actual set in stone date until a little bit later on. So
Right.
it's interesting that they're pinning it right now, but they're also giving themselves plenty of time. So I hope it'll be done enough by then. If we figure a 3-week pre-patch, it'll probably go to about 4, just because they're going to want to get it out as soon. That's that thing. The systems and the classes are closer to being done than the actual Legion content is.
Right.
So that they're probably going to want to get that out as soon as they can. Probably 3 or 4 weeks, obviously. And so people can start doing their transmog wardrobes and figuring out their demon hunters and learning their new classes, because you really do need to really relearn your class. It's quite dramatic how much the classes have changed.
Yeah.
And it's a whole year. It's a whole year of Hellfire Citadel.
No, it's more than a year. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It was 14 months all told. It's just crazy, and they just said last expansion, we don't want to do this again. And
This
here
is
we
the
are.
last.
Right, it was
we've heard that one
13
before.
months.
We've
This
been
last time,
through.
and now it's 14 this time. So much for that.
Can't imagine what it's going to be next time.
So basically we're looking at patch 7.0, the pre-patch coming in, roughly the beginning of August or the end of July there. So it's
solid 3 months. Good solid clear 3 months of
right.
WoD left.
So if you're making Garrison Gold, you better step it up. You've got 3 months pretty much, because once 7.0 drops, all your gold followers are going to be, or treasure hunter followers are going to be, resources.
I will move my Hearthstone and I will never look back.
I know. I envision my character closing the doors and just walking away. He's that's it.
That's
seal
very-
it up. Put bricks on the door, just seal it up. We're done. So, but so 7.0 will come in probably, like I said, right about a month. And it'll bring. I'm assuming that Demon Hunter starting experience is going to be available at that point. They pretty much indicated that. So,
absolutely.
We'll finally get to see all our wardrobe, possibilities there. That's what's really.
I think that's
interesting
the
to me.
one thing that's the most universally looked forward to.
Mhm,
That's
I
the
think
only thing
so.
everybody can agree on, is that we need that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I said, I've been playing this game. It'll be 10 years in July, and with all my alts and stuff, I can't imagine the different pieces of gear that I passed up on and during questing and stuff like that I'm going to have. I have zero idea all the stuff that I'm going to end up having. So I really can't wait to actually play with that. With copied characters and alpha or beta are going to be.
I think it's really neat just how many people use transmog. Like, when they first announced it, I always figured it would be just kind of a thing just for casual people or maybe a couple of raiders, and I don't know one person that doesn't use transmog.
No, I don't either, in one way or another, even if it's just with what they've happened to come across, or, the people that go out and hunt it down, and that's going to be the fun part.
Oh, actually, that's not true. We had one raider, our Holy Paladin, was like a staunch holdout.
He just refused.
I think he broke. I think he broke about halfway through Hellfire Citadel, but up until that point, he looked like a clown. He would just walk in with his mismatched stuff and like a belt that does not match his boots, and you just like look around. It's like, you want to say something? He's a female dwarf. You want to say something? Didn't think so.
That's right. So, but I'm very glad I got my Grand Expedition yak, just because now I'm going to be able to transmog wherever I go, and I want to thank Hazel for keeping me honest about getting that thing once I got my million. So.
Yeah. If you hadn't, I would have just pestered you more.
Everybody
needs one. If you can afford one, you need one. It's fantastic.
It's pretty, and I knew I wanted one because I actually, when I was in the Mist beta, I was running around on it all the time. But I mean, reforging just wasn't fun for me. But yeah, once it switched over to transmog, I'm like, now I need one.
And another point in their favor. In Legion right now, and I'm not sure if this is going to stay, but for now, in order to hide your helm, cloak, shoulders, it's no longer done through an interface option. It's actually done through the transmog interface.
Really?
So if you've made a brand new character and you're like up to level 20, you're like, man, I don't want anything on my head. Get off here. You would either have to run your little butt all the way to Stormwind or Orgrimmar, wherever, and hide it there, or once you're level 20, you can just hop on your little yak wherever you may be, and tell those things to get out of there. So
that's part of the UI. Is that in alpha right now?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
I haven't even seen
that
yet.
You go into the spot where you would switch your helm. There's just a no helm option. Same thing with shoulder things, cloaks.
Cool. I need to get an alpha more.
It's a little bit inconvenient relative to where it used to be. We all kind of thought that they would just add a display shoulders button right along with the currently existing display helm and cloak button, like in the interface options. Right. But I understand why they've moved it. It's a little bit more of an easier place to find for somebody that wouldn't know where to look for them.
Yeah.
But of course, everybody that knew where they were is going to be really confused for the first week.
Well, that's the good thing. We've got a month between pre-patch and launch for people to figure it out. So, yeah. So, but that's the thing. For me, I need to get in alpha more. I actually started going through alpha. I went through the initial experience on the Broken Shore as well. Actually, I want to ask you about that. I mean, this is obviously deterring a little bit from what we're talking about, and really should have been in the what we've been doing in WoW lately. Sure. But I don't know how I feel about experiences like that. Very much like the Tanan intro experience and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because okay,
sorry, go ahead.
No.
Well,
my only thought is it feels like half the time you really not participate. You really don't. I mean, like in that one gladiator arena where you have to kill the 100 or whatever else, 101 or whatever it is. I can't. No, it was 100 against who was it? I can't remember in Tanan. Yes, and I mean, really, you could sit around and tag a few things or whatever else, but you really could just go AFK during that.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, it feels like it's so epic and you're going through this story, and the story's kind of cool, but I just feel like
Who says that? Blizzard says that.
Well,
I don't think I've heard anybody say that.
I've heard other people say it though,
Okay.
because like the Undercity attack on Undercity during Wrath, everybody loved that, and I kind of did, but I felt the same way there. You couldn't die if you tried.
Yeah. Well, wasn't that one optional? Like that was something you went and did.
Right. That's true. Right? That was optional. But
the problem with the Broken Shore is that, and maybe I'm doing it wrong, and maybe I'm just bad at WoW. And maybe it was because I tried doing it for the first time in a Resto Druid to kind of test out how you can do damage to stuff as a Resto Druid. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's because the first time I did it, the phasing was broken, so I wasn't able to do the quest where you like eat your last meal and everything, which gives you 30% armor. Mm. But I died like 9 times, and the whole thing took me over an hour. Probably like took me start to finish an hour and 20 minutes to get through that for the first time on my Resto Druid. And as somebody like yourself with alts, that is a huge barrier to entry. It feels like the Tanan Jungle thing all over again, except even worse.
Right.
And it's going to be really cool to see the first time, and it's going to be absolutely grueling, the 13 times after that.
Right. And
I'm not really looking forward to that. I don't think they should make content like that mandatory, and I don't think they should gate, like, leveling behind it. Like, that's extra mandatory. That's not even, you got to do this to get some gear. That's, you got to do this to level. Right. You can't go if you don't do this, so...
Right. Well, you weren't the only one that was dying. In fact, I died, particularly that last... I don't want to say that, but there's a last battle... and there's some AoE going on that it's too
Yeah.
fast. You can't avoid it, and it hurts too much. And I even watched some bigger YouTubers that were struggling. Bellular in particular was having the same issue with it, so it's not just us.
I squeaked through that one.
Okay.
Now, do you know if you're intended? I know it's a 40-man scenario,
Right.
and I got all NPCs to help me. I didn't do it with anybody else. Do you
Right.
know if you need to group up with another player in order to do it with somebody else, or is it going to auto-populate with other people?
I think it's just not where it needs to be right now. I think it's probably going to be, it's going to be like a scenario that you queue up for, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
Well, that's
know.
the problem with that, though, is if they can't fill it, like 8 months after Legion's out and you're just leveling a new alt.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's why they're going to fill it with NPCs. But I
Right.
wasn't really, because it was all NPCs and it felt like a single-person scenario, I
Yes.
wasn't terribly clear on what I was and wasn't supposed to pull.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, if you go ahead of your group or, like, you get lost or, like, you even aggro something that you weren't supposed to and you start tanking it, it's going to murder you.
Yes.
And that didn't feel great. I mean, obviously, if you're in there with a group, like it felt like it was kind of tuned for, then that's more acceptable, and you're like moving with a group. But like my NPC crew, they like some of them went off one direction, like in the whole like the big phase where you're trying to fill up that progress bar.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them would go off one direction, some of them would go off
Yes.
check out the boss, and I would get like some random pack of dogs just like eating me, and I'd be like, somebody please, I'm a healer, please. Somebody, and they're all NPCs.
I do have a tip for you, and this isn't a spoiler, so it's not going to hurt if I say anything. There are tanks that you actually can get into, and you can wreck pretty much anything in them.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's that.
Oh.
They're hidden off in the back behind you almost, really. But they are there. That's actually the only reason because, I mean, like you said, everybody else is running off, and they're pretty much filling up the bar, and you're just kind of like,
They're not particularly fast about filling up the bar.
No, they're not. So, I was able to find that tank, and so there's something. It'd be interesting to see the Horde version. Alliance is the only one available right now. But I don't find that content all that exciting. Other people, like I said, I've heard, they think it's cool, but I just don't, because there's no challenge in it. You're just kind of being dragged along.
Yeah.
So, anyway. So...
Actually, I had a thought. It's part of the pre-launch event, right? That's going to launch with the pre-patch.
I don't know if that's pre-patch or if that's going to be with launch.
I'm pretty sure they've announced it as pre-patch, but I'm wondering, the thing that would make that whole thing okay for me is if it was only available during the pre-patch.
Yeah.
Like if you skipped right past it, if you decided to level characters after WoD launched.
Yeah, but I would think, because that
if it was
story...
because we had the same thing before Warlords. There was that whole thing in Blasted Lands.
Right.
That you would do.
True.
But you didn't have to do that if you started after Warlords had launched. I really hope that that's how they handled that. Although I would be surprised if they did, because it looks like they put a lot of time into it.
Right. No, it's very much mandatory. It looks like Tanan was, even though you could skip Tanan. Luckily, I was very thankful to find that later on.
You can skip to none.
Yeah, you can skip.
Like the early thing.
Have you not watched my videos, lady? No. Yeah, you could skip Tanan. Actually, if you go to Timeless Isle, there's a little cave over where the frogs are. And you go underneath the water, and you can click on... You sit in a chair, and you click on a fire.
You can't reasonably expect people to know that.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying, there is that option. It is in there. But that's one of the reasons why I tried to make the video and stuff, to kind of let people know that was an option.
Irritating that there is an option that's so hidden like that. Like, either do it or don't do it. That seems... I'll get over it. Anyways.
You're going to be all right.
I'm going to be fine.
All right.
I'm fine.
All right. Okay.
It's not like I've done Snan Jungle 14 times or anything.
Oh, God, I know. But you know what? Sometimes it's just easier to do that because, I mean, like I said, I just go make a sandwich while everybody else. Like, Khadgar does my dirty work.
I guess even that one doesn't take that long, especially once you've done it a couple times, you know where everything is.
Yeah, I had it all down. I think it's like 35 minutes or something like that. I had everything timed out and like all these calculations. The video is actually pretty intricate in terms of whether it was worth skipping and stuff like that. So I leveled so many characters both ways to just get times and kind of get information down, and nobody's watched the video, so it's fine. But anyway,
It's gonna be okay.
I will manage. I mean, we're used to it. Work, you just put work into videos, and you kind of throw it out there, and it's like, hey, whatever happens. You can't control anything after that, so it's not that big a deal one way or the other. But again, with the launch of Warlords, I said it again. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm bringing this on this so bad. Legion's launch.
Legion.
Well, I have Warlords right above it because I was talking about the price drop. It
The
is
price
down
drop.
to,
Yeah, I have the same thing on my
down
notes.
to $9.99 if people want to upgrade. Obviously, it is corresponding with the launch date of Legion. So, I don't think that's a coincidence. And I don't know. Is it going to matter at this point? Is anybody going to come in? I mean, I guess you could get everything you need for Legion for $30 right now. I mean, get the battle chest for 20 and that. So if somebody really wants to get started, then
Well,
I guess
that's to get up until the point where you need to buy Legion. Legion's still going to be what? What did we pay for
40
Legion?
Well, I can't remember.
Is it 40 for the normal and then...
I swear it's 50 for the normal, but I can't remember anymore.
How much did I pay for my digital? It was a long time ago. Of course they do that. They make you pre-order it so early to get your hands on the shiny mount that you've completely forgotten how much you spent on it by the time the damn thing comes out.
Pre-purchase of Legion is 50, so... I have no interest in that because I've got all the collector's edition except for vanilla, and I'm not going to stray from that. I want my big box. That's right. Yeah. And I'm not going to... If nothing else, honestly, those CEs are worth it for the soundtracks. Those soundtracks are so amazing. Mm-hmm. And the behind-the-scenes stuff sometimes can be good. They were really good in the earlier ones, but they've gotten skimpier and skimpier as time's going on. It's just it's like, hi, I'm Chris Besson. Credits. It's like, oh, son of a...
I know you don't have a DVD player, so you're probably not going to watch this.
That's right, and it's not available for digital download either. Suckers. We're a half hour into the show. We're actually gonna talk a little bit about. Again, we're waiting for Legion. Now we know exactly how long it's gonna be, and we got to talking in general about, again, 14 months overall is what it's gonna be. And they instituted the bonus weeks. When did that come in? 6.2?
It was either 6.1 or 6.2.
So, I'm not sure.
It had to be 6.2. We got nothing at 6.1. That was the Twitter patch.
Oh, that's right. That was the selfie patch.
That's so infuriating.
The selfie Twitter.
Not only do we have a year-long final patch and a, air quotes, 2-patch expansion. 2-patch expansion is being generous.
Yes.
This was a 1-patch expansion, and that 1 patch was something they originally were intending to release with launch. I know this is supposed to be a positive podcast.
But we're not.
1-patch Warlords, hooray.
We are positive, but we're not blind either. That's the thing. But the thing is, I've noticed there's one guy in particular that I watch on YouTube and stuff, and sometimes he gets a little bit of crap for getting really ranty. But the thing about it is, I like it because he cares that much. I mean, that's the thing. We're positive in terms of our love for the game, and if we get frustrated, it's simply because we care that much.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, that's what it comes down to it. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, that first patch was a joke, and the second one was, I don't know, it didn't feel like anything interesting at all. More dailies and more Apexis crap. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, I've never gone farming for Apexis crystals. I have not, and I'm glad I haven't. Honestly, I've got a ton that I don't even know where they came from anyway.
Yeah, you get a lot of them for doing Tanan. I would have been okay with the Tanan jungle patch if it was one of a proper 2 or 3 patch expansion. Like as a tier, the raid tier was fine. I actually enjoyed the dailies for a bit. I liked the way that they had items spread out throughout the zone, like the one in the area. I don't even remember what they're called anymore, but there's like a bunch of Draenei, and you fight that big lady with the wings. There's a haste buff you can pick up there that gives you like 20% or 50%, like a crazy amount of haste, and it lasts for like a minute. And there's buffs like that all around the zone.
Right.
And it was kind of satisfying being able to like go around and do things in an optimal order and pick up those buffs so that you're like completing your dailies faster. I liked that for a while. That was a year ago.
Yes.
And now we're here.
Yeah, isn't it crazy, man? Oh my god. You know what's funny is I was just thinking about it. It wasn't that long ago people were bitching, complaining about the new character models from where, when they would, display them and say, this is what, and people would just be like, oh, that's awful. And it seems like a million years ago, but it really wasn't that long ago that we were going through that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we wanted to kind of talk about, Warlords and in particular, I wanted to kind of discuss with Hazel in terms of the bonus weeks that they've put in. Obviously, time walking is going to be a big one, so we can save that one to last because I have a lot to say about that.
All right.
But you had the time walking week, you had the Apex this bonus week, and Arena and Battlegrounds. I think we'll start with Arena and Battlegrounds because simply that is your forte, and I'm very curious. I mean, I know you said you took advantage of some of them to gear up some of your alts.
And that's pretty much what they're for.
Is that pretty much it? Okay.
Yeah, once you've got all your gear, there is really no reason to do that unless you have friends that need to get some gear and you want to go into Battlegrounds with them. So early in the season, when you've got alts and you're trying to get, you've got a couple different characters that you want to get geared up, and your friends do too, it's a real blast, especially the Battleground one in particular. Not so much the Skirmish weekend, but the Battleground weekend. It's a real blast to get in with all your arena friends. They don't really do Battlegrounds, and then just go and stomp on people. It's quite fun. And then you get crazy amounts of honor. It's a really quick way to gear. I think that's a really quick way to gear, even if you're not a PvPer. Even if you don't know anything about PvP, but you've got an alt, you can get it to item level 700 real quick just with the honor Battleground weekend because you get so much honor, and you'll also get pieces from strong boxes for winning, assuming you won, or a silver one, assuming it was close. If it wasn't close, then that's too bad for you. But you get geared up really quickly. But the problem with them is that later in the patch, later in the season where we are now, everybody pretty much has their alts, they have their gear. And this is kind of the problem with, I think, every one of the events except for time walking, is that the rewards aren't needed later in the patch. Like, the pet battle event is another good example of this. And maybe this is just me because I'm a crazy person and I leveled all my pets. But I have no reason to even consider the pet battle XP event because all my pets are level 25.
Right.
What am I gonna do? Nothing. I'm gonna do some PvP pet battles and get a level 25 upgrade stone. Hooray! I can use that on nothing. So, yeah,
Right.
I think they were great early on, and for people that are still working towards really basic early goals, like what do you get for doing the dungeon ones? Reputations?
For
Like the Draenor heroic
for the
dungeons,
Draenor,
you get reps for those. People that wanted those are done by now.
right.
So while I think they're a great idea to keep people engaged and active and subbed week to week, I don't think they're really going to add all that much in terms of longevity to the patch for people that have been doing them at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I don't know if it's just me or not, but I've done some of the Warlords dungeons early on and here and there for various reasons, but for the most part, I have hardly gone back to them at all, and
No.
I don't feel any need to. I mean, there are different reasons to, but they haven't been enough for me to do it. So.
There are reasons that were more relevant earlier on. I mean,
Yeah.
you'd get the rep during the event, you'd get garrison resources, you get a little bit of gold.
Mm-hmm.
You might get those satchels if you're a tank or a healer, but even the satchels, didn't they take pets out of those? Aren't those just like flasks and mats and stuff?
Maybe for
now?
the
I don't think
Warlords
you get-
ones, I think.
Yeah, I don't think you get like chances at the mounts and pets anymore, which I think is a big mistake. Because I
That
used
is a
to
shame.
queue for LFR and dungeons back in
Mm-hmm.
Kata, I think it was that they introduced that. Maybe it was Mop, but just to try and farm those. And I got a couple mounts from those. That's how I got
Right.
my Reigns of the Ravenlord was from one of those satchels.
Very nice. Yeah, I got the polar bear mount out of one of those, and I think the emerald, the green drake or whatever.
Yeah.
The
Green Proto Drake.
Proto Drake.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are two I got out of there, and I wouldn't. I mean, that polar bear. There was no way I was going to go do that daily every day forever, and I refused to in Wrath, and was never going to go back. And then all of a sudden that happened. I kind of giggled to myself. I'm like, well, there we go. That's what I get for being stubborn and patient.
Yeah.
Sort of
yeah, for
patient,
sure.
more stubborn than patient.
It's a shame, though, because the dungeons were so fun. Like, that was, I think, my fondest memories of Warlords, aside from some PvP stuff. My fondest memories of, like, PvE Warlords was the first 2 months after launch, just, like, being with my guild in Vent every day. Like, right before the raids came out, we would all spam dungeons trying to get gear. We'd be excited when somebody gets a blue piece that has good stats for them.
Mm-hmm.
We'd be trying to craft each other gear, and we'd be trying to figure out these dungeons. And they were tuned pretty well upon launch. Like, we had some really fun moments where somebody accidentally pulls way too much stuff in the one that had Leroy in it, and we're stuck in a hallway, and our healer's yelling about how much he hates hallways, and we'll get in the hallway just to troll him. And those were my favorite moments of WoD, were really in the dungeons. And it's a shame that they're not relevant anymore, but I don't know if keeping them relevant would even be in the best interest of the game. They're not long enough. They don't take enough time to really be fun to just spam run forever. I think the better route would have been to add more than like they used to do.
Yeah, I don't find these dungeons to be fun and like you said, if you're going to run them over and over again, I mean, I remember back in Wrath, I had no problem running those dungeons over and over. I did them on my healers, I did them on my tanks. Kata weren't so bad, and I liked the Kata dungeons initially before they nerfed them. The problem was, of course, you had LFG, so you had random people, so you didn't know what you were going to get, and inevitably you run into just a stopping point for one of the groups, and people would drop, and eventually maybe everybody in the group would drop, and then just be a complete fail. That's why they nerfed them.
Yeah.
Which was a shame, but I mean, I understood it when you had the LFG being so predominant as it was just kind of necessary.
Yeah.
So, but I haven't really...
Yeah, both Cat and Mop had, or not Cat and Mop, Wrath and Cat had post-release dungeons, though.
Right.
I miss that.
Yeah, I definitely miss that. I mean, especially like when you think back to Wrath, especially you had those that lead to the ICC raid.
Yeah.
Those were awesome, and
So,
you can't even get those through the LFG until like was it level 80? Is it level 80?
Yeah, they were max level specific dungeons, just like the Zandalari ones were also max level. You couldn't do those as level in dungeons.
Yeah, there's no
and they were
point
harder.
to it.
They were intended to be harder.
Oh, those were nice. I mean, as much as I hated seeing the raids go, I thought those were really nice because in terms of like you said,
those dungeons.
how
They were so
difficult they
cool.
were.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but yeah, it's a shame that there's no real reason to run some of that stuff. For me, I mean, I want to go real quick back to pet battles though, because I mean, I have used the pet battle weeks to kind of get my characters up and my pets up, because I didn't have a really good team. And again, watching your videos, I knew I needed certain ones especially to go and do Timeless Isle and everything else. So, I mean, that helped me a lot. But for me, I didn't have a definitive way of leveling those characters up. I honestly would just go outside my garrison. I would just battle the stuff that was kind of just out there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure taking them to like trainers and stuff is probably a more efficient way. I'm just curious what is the one way, the universal? There's probably a lot of ways, but what's the universal way you would say, hey, if you want to get a pet from 1 to 25 during that event, what would you say to do?
It depends on how much time you have. If you want to just do the normal human with a life thing, what you want to do is do as many of the dailies that you have time for, because pet tamer battles give the most XP, and they're therefore affected the most by that exponential increase. So going to do Ashley, Vashar, Garg, everything you can get to, especially with flying now, you can get to them all pretty easily. Going to do those all every day, and of course they're all 2-pettable. I would advise skipping out on trying to 2-pet Simmery Brightblade. It is possible, but it's a real pain in the butt. Even my strat has a caveat. You want to do this one for the Alec plushie, and you never want to come back here again. It's awful. But the other ones are all pretty easily 2-pettable. I have strats up for that, and that'll take you probably maybe, I don't know, 40, 45 minutes to like do a loop, and that'll get you a good amount of XP on a number of different pets, and then you're kind of good. But if you want to actually grind after that point, it depends on if there's any other secondary goals you want to work towards simultaneously. So at first, I went to my favorite spot, and everybody's got one. Some people like grinding in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. There's some striders there, I believe people do. I always liked the old-fashioned spot of the Wormrest Temple, which is feeding Dragonbone hatchlings.
Right.
But what I ended up doing in Warlords was, because there's that achievement to complete some god-awful amount of pet battles, like 3,000, 5,000, a stupid amount of pet battles in Draenor specifically for that monument. I actually just went and did the exact same thing you did. I grinded wild pets in Draenor, so I would just go and fight wild pets in Draenor until I had... it was completing pet battles in Draenor. It was leveling up pets, because you can 2-pet pretty much any wild pet battle pretty easily. And it was also keeping an eye out for any rare quality wild pets that I didn't have yet, to kind of add those to my collection without having to use upgrade stones.
Right.
So I always like doing things that can work towards multiple goals at once whenever possible. So that's what I kind of ended up doing. But if you're only trying to level pets, and you've already done all of the pet dailies, which means you've already done all of the WoD pet dailies, and you've gone and done all the Pandaria pet dailies, and you still have time, then yeah, you want to find yourself whatever spot you like, whatever spot you've got good pets for, be it the Temple or Vale of Eternal Blossoms, or even Draenor, and you do want to just grind wild pets.
Yeah, I forgot about that stash, because I don't have a statue at all in my garrison for anything.
Oh,
So,
the pet one's pretty cute. It's
yeah.
got a little Cinder Pup and a little Cinder Kitten, and they're like happy. Yeah.
And they're like happy.
Yeah.
Well, that's important.
It is.
Okay, well that's good, because like I said, I kind of did my own thing, and I'm past that point now, so it's not too bad. But
yeah, Tamers.
Tamers.
Once you add in the Pandaria Tamers, it's going to take you a long time. There's quite a few of those, and they're all still very relevant, because the pet level didn't increase. Thank God. Thank God they're not increasing level cap.
Yeah. So beyond that, I was gonna say time walking is really the main one I want to talk about. It seems to be the one universally most people continually to keep doing each week that I hear about anyway. I mean, it may be because I'm just more into PvE content, but I don't know. I have a love-hate with time walking. Actually, I more have a hate with time walking. I mean, my biggest problem with time walking simply is that people think that they're old dungeons, so you can just go ahead and run through them, face roll them. They're not going to hurt you. Yeah, exactly. And it's no big deal. You don't have to adhere to any kind of mechanics or anything. And you can get away with that to a degree, maybe sometimes, but then you run into certain dungeons, especially some of them. I was talking to somebody yesterday about the ones in Kata. You get like Grimbatal or whatever else, and you don't deal with the mechanics and stuff. You just get toasted, and they just get all ragey and everything else, and it's just not fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many times I've gone into Grimbatal doing time walking, and people just do not understand. They just run down the hallway and start killing everything. I'm like, guys, the dragons. We want to do the.
Kata wasn't that long ago, was it? How old am I?
But there's more people hopping into Warlords before as their first experience, especially the Hearthstone folks. I mean, I don't know how much you've seen that. That's been actually remarkable to see a lot of people come from Hearthstone.
Curious to see what the stats are of
I know,
retention
I would
rate
love
for
to
those
see
people.
that. Yes.
We're never gonna know, but I just wish I knew.
No, but I mean, I keep my eye on Reddit from time to time, and there's a lot of people in there saying, "Hey, I came from Hearthstone, and now I'm actually interested in this game. Is there anybody here that can kind of, walk me through things? And I have a question about this or whatever else." Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see that conversation come from.
I have a thing to say about that, but I kind of want to let you finish time walking first.
Okay. So, but I've pretty much done the time. I'll do like the first time walking one to get that little item and get the 500 badges and just go on and just keep doing that on different alts so I can start picking up mounts and the pets and stuff like that on different characters and just get all that stuff. And once I get all those things done, I am done with time walking.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, but that's the thing. And and that's the other thing. I mean,
are you going to stick around and grind it for the rare drop now?
Well, and that's what I feel kind of bad because again, I just get that first one and get that quest item and go away. And I don't continually grind the dungeons, and I kind of feel bad because I am shortchanging myself on the opportunity to get that. But do I really care that much? I mean, it's a great mount though. It looks beautiful.
It is, yeah.
But God, the pain. I don't know, and I hate the fact that the person we actually might almost had as a guest tonight. I mentioned earlier, she got it on her 4th dungeon, and I hate her. So she just has that kind of luck. But yeah, I want to do that. I so do, but I don't know if I can do it to myself.
You might just need a break from it. You might need to come back to it one day once you've done some other goals.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
take a Ross and Rachel style break.
We were on a break. Anyway, so what were you gonna say?
Well, 2 things now.
Okay.
They're accumulating in my brain. I'm trying really hard not to let them fall out my ears. The time walking thing. I think the reason that people are still doing time walking, the reason that's still relevant, is that they did. And I know you're kind of in pain about grinding over this and trying to finish it up, but they did a really good job in the reward structure.
Yep.
The fact that there are specific rewards for different events, and they're not all just lumped together, even though they're the same currency. And the fact that they're themed so well, and that there's so many different ones. Like if you only want to spend a couple badges, there's like probably a cheap toy for you, and you can have that, and you can use it. And there's the mounts, and there's just all this stuff that you can get, and it takes quite a while to get all of it. And it's supposed to, like, it's not supposed to be something you grind out all at once, but you still have that option of doing just the one dungeon for that 500. That's what I've done, and I've even missed some. But I usually do the one on one character at least. Sometimes 2 if I'm feeling ambitious, and then I'm just done because I don't have time for that kind of thing.
Right.
But I do think they did a really good job in the reward structure, and I wish they would apply that kind of I don't know, effort, reward structure effort of creating all these mounts and toys and stuff to other assets of the game. I would love to see stuff like that for pet battles. I would love to see more things like that for PvP. I would love to see stuff like that for regular dungeons. I want to see more random drop pets. I want to see like toys that you do a special achievement for in a dungeon. I want to see more stuff like that kind of gives people an extra thing to look for. And it's cool to see it in time walking. I wish they would spread that out. The other thing that I was going to say was in relation to new players that came from Hearthstone specifically that have never played WoW before but are picking it up now, and those posts on Reddit where they're asking for help. Mm-hmm. How incredible is it how much knowledge we've forgotten that we have? Like the questions these people ask seem like things that we learned so long ago that we forgot that we didn't always know them.
Right.
Like, it's just, it really puts into perspective the overall knowledge base that you accumulate as a WoW player, especially when you've been playing it for like 10 plus years like you have. Mm-hmm. It's really easy to forget just how how closely you know and understand this game, and nothing really puts that into perspective like watching a new person trying to figure it out for the first time. And it kind of puts me back to the first days when I logged into WoW. I was like, how do I WASD? I'm stuck in a corner. Help, this game sucks. And,
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Helping my friend play the past couple weeks, I've had the exact same thing because, like I said, auto attack went in that first slot, and I just automatically took mine out and put heroic strike right in. And he was like frustrated because I was telling him to hit 1, and that wasn't working for him. And I was telling him to charge with 2, and of course his was 3.
You pretty much need somebody behind you or like screen sharing on Skype to really walk you through your UI and stuff. And I don't know if there's a good solution for that. I think it's just like MMOs in general are not new player friendly. It's very hard to make one that's new player friendly.
Yeah, and even
They've done the best they can.
Even just running and moving the camera around and stuff like that, I was just taking all that for granted, and he was totally I don't know if I told you this. He was so, and I felt so bad because he was so lost. At one point on Facebook, I got a message from him. I was at dinner, so I didn't see it till like a half hour later. So luckily, he figured things out. But I got a message on Facebook. Actually, do I have it here? I think I have it. Yes, I have it right here. Literally was, I died. That was one message. Because I said, you know what? We've gone through the basic stuff. Go run around and do some stuff on your own. I want to see if you can apply what you've learned. And I mean, even just like using the stuff on the mini map to help him go to quest and stuff like that. So I was like, you just go do your thing and just kind of let me know how it goes. So he messaged me, and was I died. That was one message. Next message came in was, now what? I'm like, really?
I'm a ghost. It's spooky. I don't know where to go. There's this big lady with wings, and she's looking kind of threatening. She wants to. Make a deal.
At one point, that's the next message was, never mind. I figured it out. I had to drive and bear in mind he was a night elf. So
yeah.
I told him it was a wisp, but he said I had to drive my wrist to the graveyard. Like, oh. So, and that's the thing. He probably did. He went to the graveyard and got a res there, and I'm like, okay, that's cool when you're like level 7, but you're going to pay for that later on. You want to go find your body, so I had to kind of...
I have to drive my wrist to the graveyard. Sounds like a title of like an emo album.
It really does. Now I want to make a band. I didn't think about that. Now, okay, well, I'll work on that later. All right, so, yeah, time walking, I want to like it, but like you said, and we talked about previously, if you just add those little random things like a mount possibility, it really, I mean, it's not extending the life of the game for a lot of people, but there are a lot of people that continue to play, and even if they continue to play just out of habit, kind of like we do,
that's how they keep butts like us.
That's right. They're doing that stuff because of those random chances. And what's nice is not only are you going to get that random chance for that mount, but you're also working towards that with the badges. So you've got two things going on. So, yeah, I wish we would see more of that sort of thing, and I hope we do in Legion. I don't know yet how they're going to handle some of that stuff.
That's one of the things that I think a lot of people were disappointed with in Warlords was not only, all right, so we got these mounts, and the individual models themselves at first, while standing still, are really cool. Yes. Like the river beast, the boar looks great, the wolves look great, that's great. And then you see a whole bunch of recolors. You're like, okay, yeah, I mean, that's fine, that happens. But at least we've got like a whole bunch of different mounts. And then you see them move, and you're like, what is wrong with your tail? What are you doing? Your legs are moving too fast. Just stop. You're embarrassing yourself. And then you see where you get them from, and it's just rep mounts. It's just rep mounts and vendor mounts, and, maybe your garrison poops one out on you. And that's it. It's so frustrating.
No, you're right. Actually, because that's the thing. When I was talking about things to spend my gold on, I have a lot of those rep mounts and stuff to go for, but they're like 20,000, 50,000 gold, and they're just reskins. They're not even interesting.
I have them. Couldn't tell you which ones they were.
I have no interest. I mean, I could, but I have no interest in them because they're so boring.
The only reason to do them is to work towards the mount achievements. You can do those very, very last when you're like stuck.
Yeah, and
that's when you buy them.
Right, and maybe that's what I'll end up doing. But yeah, they're just the reskinning of these mounts throughout this expansion, and I mean, I didn't find a lot of them to be interesting at all anyway, unfortunately. But man, they just different variations of the same old thing. I don't know if I've ever seen it to this degree in an expansion. Yeah, we see reskins all the time for the most part, but this,
I think they've handled them better in the past. Like, if you think back to the Burning Crusade, you think back to the Netherwing, Netherwing Drakes, and you think back to the Nether Rays.
Right.
Sure, there's a whole bunch of recolors, but once you've unlocked them, you have them. It's just giving you more options once you've achieved that set of mounts. They didn't feel the need to, like, sprinkle them around for various, you know, kind of garbage ways to get them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it doesn't feel satisfying to complete a completely different achievement to get a dark brown wolf when you already have a light brown wolf. It would be different if I went and made friends with the orcs and they're like, here, have a wolf.
Right.
Buy some wolves. I'll sell you some wolves. Here, have a wolf warranty. That would be better.
Wolf warranty.
Yeah. But no, you have to do all this different stuff for mounts that are pretty much just the same thing in a different shade of lime green Mountain Dew. So
you're right. I mean, that's the thing. I have the wolf off of the rare in Frostfire, and as much as I want the actual Frost Wolves mount because I love the Frost Wolves, I love that whole storyline. And as much as people may hate Frostfire compared to Shadow Moon because it's so pretty, the story in Frostfire is great for a Horde character. If you love the Horde, it was very good storyline for that. And I just fell in love with the Frost Wolves, and I'd love to have all that stuff, but I mean, it's another wolf. There's not that much that makes it worth the cost. I hate to say it. I mean, and we were talking about Apex. I mean, I could use my Apexes that kind of fell from the sky, plus my gold to buy them. But at this point, I'm actually saving up to get that what is it? I can't remember what reskin it is. This is the green one, the fell bird or whatever out in Tanan. That's like 100 or 200, whatever it is, 1,000 Apexes crystals. So I need to get that one at some point. I just haven't, but. Yeah, I don't know. It really feels to me like there's 5 models and they've just redone them a million times throughout the different zones, and that's just about it. And I don't remember ever feeling like that before. I don't know.
Well, it's something they tried, and hopefully they've realized that it sucked, and hopefully they just don't do it again.
Well, the models in Alpha of Legion look really good so far, and the zones look really good so far. So I'm actually going to work through leveling the character up, and because I wanted to experience it anyway, and you can't get to 110 on those servers except for you can go to the one PvP one and get 110. But
I've actually reached 110 in the leveling Emerald. I have a level 110 Shadow Priest.
Very nice, very nice. What did you think of the leveling experience?
Oh, it was awesome. It was fantastic.
Okay,
I didn't expect. So you know how you can level in any order, and you can group with somebody of any level, and mobs will appear you're leveled you, and they're leveled at them, which means you can kind of group up with anybody at any stage.
Right.
I didn't think I would like that much. I thought that was just kind of a silly thing that was a waste of resources, and being able to do the zones in any order was just kind of like a weird thing to put time into, and I still kind of think that.
Yeah.
But I leveled with a friend, and at no point was I the same level as my friend, and it was very cool how you're able to just group up with anybody and just go do some stuff. It was awesome. I enjoy all the zones. I like the story of the zones. I like there's lots of cool rares. There's lots of cool events.
Yeah.
The experience may get stale over time. I mean, they always do. There's only so many times you can do the same thing before you want to stop. But it's really well done. It's really well done. It feels a lot like the Warlord's leveling experience, except that it's different. It's new and it's a little bit better.
Right. Do you have to go to every zone to reach 110? Can you?
If you really max out like searching for treasures and you do the bonus objectives and you do a couple of dungeons, you can probably do it one zone early. You can probably get to 110 without doing all 5.
Okay.
But
nice
if you're just doing main quests and
3
skipping
zones.
stuff.
Yeah, if you do 3 zones, then you could do 3 other zones the next time.
If you do 3 zones, you're probably going to need to do some dungeon grinding.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know.
The problem with that is you really want to max out your artifact power while you're leveling. Like you want to get as much as possible while you're out in the world and getting experience, so that you don't have to go back and grind. Because you are going to have to go back and grind artifact power. There's no two ways about that. And this is really disappointing. I reached, like I said, I'm 110 in my Shadow Priest.
Mm-hmm.
I have unlocked 3 artifact traits.
Yeah.
3. There's a whole tree of them things.
I know.
Gonna need all of them to raid.
Yes. Yes, you will.
It's gonna be bad.
I know.
So bad.
And that was the thing for me, because when I first opened my first one, because the first one's so easy, it's like, yay, cool, and then you realize that you go out and you start picking stuff up, and how many more it is this next time.
They need to cut the amount of artifact power required to unlock traits in half. It feels so unsatisfying to have to grind like 350 to get one rank that's going to give you an extra 1% damage on your Mind Flay.
No,
Go away. I don't want it. I'm mad.
I agree with that. I'm glad somebody else, because like I said, when I first did it, I was like, it seemed cool because the first one comes so fast, and then you see the second one. I literally kind of went, I'm done.
And I mean, it's nice being able to work towards, like, you've got those 3 or whatever, like the cool ones, the golden ones that they have extra special abilities. They're usually passive, but they're still cool.
Right.
And you're like, okay, I'm going to work towards that one. Then you look at all the stuff that you need to do to get to that one. You're like, well, I don't care about this one.
Yeah.
I don't want this.
Yeah.
I don't want.
But I don't have a choice. I have to go.
I have
that
to.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels that way, because I was getting that same vibe early on, but it was so early. I mean, this was like days into the alpha that I was like, well, maybe this is just temporary and everything else, but it's not so far. And
I really hope everybody that's in the alpha just test it out, make your own opinions, and then leave some feedback. They need to know.
No, I agree.
What it's like.
But the problem is, I mean, I think the main reason it's there is, just to extend the life of things, and they're not. I mean, they don't care that it's working as intended, because that's the point.
How often do people leave a raw stat increase on the table because they haven't had time to grind it yet before raid, though? Anybody in a guild that takes itself even semi-seriously is going to feel the need to grind that.
No,
and I know that they're going to say, "Oh, you don't have to." You kind of do.
Right. Yes. Well, again, I mean, we talked about the class hall mission table, whatever else. Yeah, if you want that 3rd relic slot, and you're going as a raider, you're gonna have to. They're gonna your raid team's gonna require that. Yeah. Don't tell me.
It's gonna be that one dude that didn't do it. Like we have one raider. We're not raiding anymore, but we have that one guy that just didn't do the shipyard, and he's like, "How do I get my legendary ring? Oh, screw that." So we have one healer. He doesn't have it. The entire rest of the raid's got maxed out rings, but that's not going to fly with most guilds.
Well, we had that one raider in ICC when it had that. What was that? A dodge. It was like a minus dodge buff or something like that. A debuff of some sort to dodge.
Oh, I don't know. I was still wearing cloth shoulders, my hunter, and ICC.
And this dude still kept stacking dodge no matter what. We're just like, no, stop it. It's not helping you, because it's just the debuff. Never mind. Anywho, we are coming up on an hour. We've kind of gone all over the map towards the end there, but we had a lot to talk about, and we weren't sure. The one thing about this podcast is fun is because sometimes we can talk about some topic and we can just go off the rails with it, and we've pushed many topics off the table completely, and some of them we've left very little time to cover. And, other times we run into, well, I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of WoW podcasts that are on a hiatus right now because there's nothing to talk about. So we're still finding stuff to talk about.
I think our model is good because it kind of naturally allocates time to the stuff that we're passionate about. If we don't have much to say, we're going to say our whatever and then move on to whatever we want to rant about. So it works out good.
That's right. And, ultimately, this is a podcast for people that want to talk about all sorts of things. I mean, one of the reasons I want to do this podcast is because right now there isn't a lot of content, and if we can help you find something to do in World of Warcraft, we talk about, if you want to raise those pets up during the bonus event for pet battles. I mean, we have an expert right here, that sort of thing. And if we can make your time in WoW a little bit better, especially now when things are kind of slowed down, and now at least we have a target date, but still, and even now, I guess with that date in mind, we know what kind of time frame we have. So if we can help you guys experience WoW a little bit better in one way or another, please let us know on Twitter. We've got Emerald Dreamcast, or at Emerald Dreamcast on Twitter with a shared D, Emerald Dreamcast with 2 Ds at gmail.com if you want to send us double Ds. Send us a note through the interwebs on your email machines. Appreciate that, and we can That's like what
sound like my grandfather.
I was gonna say, it's like we bought it at the Walmart, that kind of thing. So,
and even if you're taking a break from WoW, I hope at the very least we can make your Monday better.
Right? Yeah. I mean, keep you kind of informed, and just kind of it's a casual kind of podcast where we just kind of chat, and a lot of people I've heard love to listen to the podcast while they level, which makes me really happy because as an alcoholic, I'm like, cool. That's really cool that we're kind of keeping you company while you do that, because that's something we're doing most of the time anyway. So
we're very flattered.
Well, and I have to say special shout out to the folks over on Hazel's YouTube channel. Those folks over there really are loyal, listening, and the comment section has been very helpful in terms of some recommendations. I mean, I take every comment very seriously. So I mean, I know one person particularly who had a criticism of the intro, for example, and he was afraid to say it. I'm like, dude, that's cool. I mean, it's something
Stuff we need to know. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like having kind of feedback, so I kind of know where to go. And we're still. I mean, this is episode 6. We have a long way to go. We're looking at different things in terms of like layouts, logos, and maybe a new intro too. Who knows? But any kind of feedback we definitely appreciate. And when you're on Stitcher and iTunes and all that stuff, give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. I mean, all that stuff helps the show grow. So anyway, we have reached our allotted time. So thank you guys very much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Like I said, every Monday we like doing this and hanging out with you guys and joining the conversation is cool.
Thanks.
Yes, and Hazel, appreciate your time as well. Things are just
give us like
better.
the 5-star ratings in iTunes. If we get a lot of them, maybe the podcast will go viral, and people that don't play WoW will listen to it just to keep like an update on Joe's alligator situation. Yeah.
The thing that amazes me, I think,
Alligator
about you is the way you can speak without breathing. Sometimes you just fire off into a sentence, and I'm like, is it gonna end?
Well, I mean, sometimes I got a lot to say, and I've got like a meter, like a progress meter in my mind, like a game would, that like your breath is running out, so you just gotta like make your tongue move a little faster, mash the key a little harder, and just like spit it all out before it ends.
On that note, thanks. We're out of here. You guys have a good week. Take care now.
See you guys later.
Bye.
I rolled a 20.